with today is the first topic which we take up for our class 12th, and that is the pandas revision with the few extra things. Revision I'm not taking, but that is how the syllabus is. Right? Here I just have downloaded the file. Okay. Now, which all Python libraries we have done in 11th? Do you remember?
Yeah, NumPy, yeah, these pandas.
NumPy, pandas, and matplotlib. These are the three libraries we had done in the last year syllabus. Okay. Now, what are exactly the libraries we are aware of? They are these pre-written codes that we need to perform few particular things, and it makes our life easier. They are like tools available, isn't it? And how we use them, how we install them, we have done all these things. So I'm not really coming down to that particular part today. I am just going to refer to a CSV portion because we will learn how to work in Google Colab today, and there it is very important to understand that how do I actually pick up the CSV file from my machine, because that's a server, right? So how do I pick up my CSV file from the system and upload it there and then use it? Because हम लोग वही करेंगे आज, right? Now CSV we have learned, you have done the project also in class 10 based on the CSV file. So CSV is my comma separated value file, and all the data which we get nowadays in the internet, they are all in this particular tabular format itself, which is my CSV format. Okay. Now, when I have to take my CSV and use it in my data frame, how do I do it? I do it using the read CSV function, right? So we have our pandas installed, and then we have the read CSV function, read underscore CSV, and then the name of the file with the path. If I'm doing it on my machine, so I'll mention the path, and then the data reads that CSV file and converts the data into a data frame, right? Remember?
Ma'am, I had a question.
Yes.
Just that last year, do we have something like the IBM skill this year also?
What of last year?
Like the IBM practical file we have to do
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Do we
yeah.
have-
IBM skill certification is there this year also.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, that you have to keep on doing, because now that we are starting up with the first class only this year, but then try to do a few of them during the summer break,
Sure, ma'am.
because later you may not have so much of time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
And then converting the data frame into CSV file is df.to underscore CSV. That takes your data from the data frame and converts it into a CSV file if you need that data. Now, what we concentrate on today is handling missing values. This is a very, very significant portion in the data preparation, that when you are supposed to work on your data, you got the data from the internet, from the website, and now you want to work on it. And it's huge data, 5,000 rows, 10,000 rows, 20,000 rows of information is there. Now you have to prep the data, because I want entire data to be correct, to be complete, to be without any discrepancies. Okay. And one very significant thing here, which we have to be talking about, is the missing value. Sometimes what happens is, when we talk about the data we have downloaded, there are certain places where there is no information given. Okay. Like, if I show you the data we're going to work with, like here, I have created a sales data. This is my created data only, but otherwise when you will download something, you will be able to find it out. That this is the area and the sales in every month for that area, for a particular company. Maybe a Bata is preserving that, or Liberty is preserving that. If 5,000 pairs of shoes I've sold in January in the Dwarka area, none in the Janakpuri area. So this NaN actually is trying to tell me that there's no value here, right? So all these NaNs are my areas where there is no value, no mentioned value. Okay. Now, how do I handle this particular situation? That is when my data is missing somewhere or the other. Because when I start working on my data, I'll find that these missing informations create a problem. I'm not at times not able to apply certain functions. I'm not able to do certain work. Uh, if I have to do some kind of, which we learned today, regression analysis, when I'm trying to do something like that, it creates a trouble if the data has null values. So, and it's not null actually, we call it NaN, N-A-N, not a number. NaN values in the data with which I'm going to work with. Okay. So how do I handle them? Now there are these three functions which we're going to focus upon, which takes care of these missing values. Okay. First one is null. Very easy to remember. Is there any null value? It checks. So pandas provides a function called as is null because it checks whether there are null entries in a particular column or in a particular row or in a particular table as a whole. If you use the is null function, it will return you in terms of true false. That here you have false, 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 no null values. That means whenever it is true means yahan pe there is a null value. So you can easily make out from that answer of it. Right. Then comes, I'll show you the samples also, don't worry. Then I want to remove all my rows where there is missing values. Drop NA. Drop an entire row which has any place of missing value. Anywhere. Like I showed you the data, somewhere there's Jan ka missing data, somewhere there's September ka missing data, somewhere there's March ka missing data. So delete all the rows where there is missing data. I don't want that. Because while training my machine, I don't want, because ultimately my focus is that with this data, I'm going to train my model, right? So I don't want any loopholes there. जो missing है वो data हटा दो उस साल का उस मंथ का या उस एरिया का जो भी है कि कोई गलत इंफॉर्मेशन या कोई इनकम्प्लीट इंफॉर्मेशन ना जाए सिस्टम के पास राइट ड्रॉप इन and then sometimes it happens that I can fill that data with a 0 value or a 100 value or a 1 value depends upon what you want to actually do. I can fill that data with that particular value and leave it. ठीक है चलो जितना उसने जैसे पिक किया एक assumed value we can take it. Okay. So I am taking a value like here 0 or 1 and I'm going to fill that area, all those places where there is none. Fine. Is null, drop NA, fill NA. These three functions I'm talking about. Now to work with this particular thing, I now take you to a new setup that's called the Google Colab. No hassles of installing the data, no hassles of not able to work with the CSV file on any particular platform. It's very simple to work with the Google Colab. You just write Google Colab in your search button, search area, and open up the Google Colab platform. When you open up the Google Colab platform, it is going to show you this kind of a screen, right? And here you have the option of new notebook. So it works like a notebook setup, like Jupyter. Okay. So new notebook, you click on this. When you click on this, it takes you to this kind of a screen. Can you see that? Untitled2.ipynb.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? Because I did not give any name, so it is untitled. And that is the extension of the file which it creates. Python notebook. Py is Python, NB is notebook. I am not able to figure out what is it. But that is how the extension of the file is. And here is the place where I'm going to write the code and click this button to execute it. This one. Okay? But my first purpose is that I have to load my CSV file there. So CSV file ko pick kare, which is currently there on my machine. From my machine, so it will not read. I have to give it to the server there. Then only it will read it. Okay. So for that, you can see on the left side of your panel, you have this kind of a folder. There are a few icons here. And the last one is this folder icon. So click on that. When you click, you get, it opens up like this. And then there's some sample data folder shown to you and these options. It very easily tells you that this arrow mark, up arrow mark means you want to upload the file. Okay? So uploading ke liye, you have to click particularly this option. Click here. This is the CSV file which I have made ready in my on my system. And then I clicked it took the path and I gave the path and it picked up the file. And now you can see that this sales12.csv has been uploaded to their server. It says that ensure that your files are saved elsewhere. This runtime files will be deleted when this runtime is terminated. अगर आपने बिना सेव करे उसको बंद कर दिया, so you will not be getting the file data. So keep a copy of it, of course, on your hard disk also. But to work on the code, you need this file, you upload it, and then you can work on it. No problem. Okay. So for this particular notebook, my file has been, for this session, it has been loaded. And now I can start working on it. Fine. अब working के लिए सबसे पहले मुझे क्या करना है? File is there with you. Now you have to get it to the environment. Right? So for my current program, I'm saying import pandas and then read CSV. अब देखो यहाँ पे there's no need to give any path. If I would have been doing it on my machine, ideally, I would have to mention d:\/ Sriram folder / practical file folder / and then the name of the file. There's no need of any this thing because he is only searching it in its own drive, in its own folders. Google Colab, right? So I don't have to mention any path. Directly you give the file name and it is picked up. लिया? And I'm just saying store करो उसको, उसने data frame बना दिया, मैंने print करा data frame में, my data is ready. Is the process clear? Very good. Great. Chalo. Now what? Now, if you see, when you're going to, you've done that, if I take you back, there are these two plus buttons available. Sorry, I didn't keep it. Was it there in the previous screen? I think when I've taken the screenshot, I've removed that reference. No, yeah. So when you're going to actually, you have to type in the code. Can you see this plus code and plus text? Right? So when I want to write, I've written a code. Now I want to write another fresh set of lines of program. So plus code. Okay, so it will create an area for you to type in, like this kind of an area, a fresh one. Now I want to create another one. मुझे एक और instance check करना उसको. And text का मतलब, because there's a notebook, so I may keep my notes also handy. That's the advantage of this notebook story, which Jupyter also has. And even Google Colab is also a notebook setup. So you can keep your notes handy within this thing. So जब आप ये untitled 2 खोलोगे, or whatever name, like Sriram के नाम से you have saved a file. So that file will have your code, your explanation, your text, your outputs, everything in one place. Separately कुछ भी रखने का जरूरत नहीं है. Okay, so you want to add some text to your file, you will do plus text. If you want to add your code lines, you will do plus code. Okay, so I have now reached here. And this is what I'm telling you. Insert the code cell below. So a separate area pops up for you to write further on. We clicked on that. And then I'm writing this thing. DF create kiya maine pehle. So that cell is already there. My system has identified DF. Now I'm saying DF dot is null. Very simple, direct. Don't forget the brackets. These half circle brackets are very important, which you can see with the green color, because that tells you that it is a function. It's not an attribute. Okay. So you have to give the brackets there. It's compulsory. So when you are saying that, you can see area में false means यहाँ पे कोई null value नहीं है. January में first इस portion में है, then इस portion में इस portion में नहीं है, फिर ये second line में है, then इधर है, then इधर है. March में first line में है, and January में second and fifth place में it is showing me true. That means these are the areas where there are null values. Drop नहीं करोगे तो वो उन्हीं rows को, ये first row इस case में 0th row and the first row and the 4th row, they'll get deleted. Drop हो जाएगा पूरा, delete from the data frame. Right? Now, if you want to check for null value, like बहुत बड़ा data, I don't want to see complete one together. So I want to check it for a particular column. So here you can give the heading is identified. When I created the data frame, I did not make changes in the keys, index and all. By default, whatever it has picked up, it has picked up. But otherwise, you can, while creating the data, CSV say data frames, we have learned various options, change the index and all that. So you can do that. But here it is on the default setup only. So here I'm asking df.jan is the way to access the column. Of df.jan में is null values है any? Very simple. df.jan access kiya, dot is null. If you said up to dot is null, so only jan column will be shown with true, false, wherever applicable true, wherever not applicable false. And dot any, when you add, it is saying ki is there any value there, which is null. So he says true. So you know that this column has null values. How many? You're asking him to sum up. How many? 2 null values. Right? Then you have overall data frame में कितने null values हैं? Area में 0, Jan में 2. So column by column, it is giving you the count. Area में 2, Jan में 2, Feb में. So it's like if there are too many null values and you delete all of them, then maybe the data becomes small. So I just want to have an idea about how many null values do I have. I may use these kind of functions for that. Otherwise, basic is null to check whether any null values are available or not in the data. Next is drop NA. Now I've shown you the data. I am going to drop the records where there is null value, and I'm not doing the changes directly in the data frame. I'm keeping the data frame the way it is. And after dropping, I'm asking him to create another data frame by the name S. Because original को हम रखना चाहते हैं. So that is what I've done. And then you can see print S when I'm doing. Row number 0 is not there. Row number 1 is not there. Row number 4 is not there. 3 row में था ना. So all those 3 rows have been deleted. Fill NA 0. Wherever there is null value, you can see here 0 0.0, 0 0.0, 0 0.0. These 3 places, your null has been replaced with 0. If it is 0 and you're okay with it, you may keep those rows and accordingly proceed. Fine. So what are functions we have learned? Is null dot any. Return, both of them will return in true false. Is null dot sum will give you the count of the null values. If it is particular column wise, or df dot is null, तो entire df के अंदर. Drop NA will delete the row where there are null values. Fill NA will fill a particular value in the places where there is null. Okay. So these are the functions which we should know in order to handle the missing values in your data. Correct? Shall I move further?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Now today I am going to make you do some kind of a algorithm, linear regression algorithm. And you will find it interesting because you've never done this kind of a thing earlier. What is actually linear regression? Linear regression is an easy concept. So don't feel that pata nahi kaisa mathematical sa concept or nothing like that. It's a statistical thing and machine learning may use hota hai for predictive analysis. Like I want to say, for the past 10 years, inflation has been like this. 4.9, 8.2, 7.0, this, that. So next 7 years, how the inflation is going to be. And inflation को decide करने के तेरा certain parameters, वो सारा data मैंने दिया कि in parameters के basis पे your inflation has been calculating itself. Now, in the next 5 years, I want a prediction that how my inflation is going to change. It's a prediction. Reality can be very much different from it. It can be very much similar to it also. Okay. But that is what is the purpose of linear regression, that I want to do a predictive analysis. Professionals use linear regression across many industries to make predictions, inform business decisions, take decisions, and thus prepare for the upcoming events. आप sales predict कर सकते हो, आप prices predict कर सकते हो, आप inflation predict कर सकते हो. Lot of things you can do which will help the business. And it's very obvious. So it is providing me with some valuable insights into the relationships of different variables. Now, what exactly you are considering? I'm considering here 2 types of variables for this particular example. Independent variable and dependent variable. One is the response variable, like I'm saying price or inflation or the sales. So that's my dependent variable. Ki sales is dependent on a few set of factors. Whether it is raining, the weather is responsible for my sales, or the stock market is responsible for my sales, or the inflation rate is responsible for my sales, or the bank bank interest rate is responsible for my sales.
I'm also the supply chain as well.
Right. So you understand that very well. So these independent variables are there, and my dependent variable is my sales. Okay? किस पे हम लोग response को check कर रहे हैं. So for every situation, this is going to vary, but you will have certain explanatory variables and one single response variable. Okay. Further moving on, I've explained the same thing here, dependent variable and independent variable with certain examples. For example, like for dependent variable, I'm saying, I want to check the score of a student. I want to check for the price of the houses. I want to check for the sales in the next month. What is your, I mean, on what thing are you actually doing the prediction? That is your dependent variable. Independent variable are the factors. Like score of a student may depend upon number of hours the student has studied, their previous level of knowledge, number of hours they are sleeping, and so on. Number of periods conducted in school, number of free periods he had in this week, number of scolding he had in this week. So all that may be affecting his performance. Price of a house may depend upon the area, the number of rooms, कौन से floor पे है, what kind of water supply, whether it's boring water supply or it is DJB water supply. A lot of factors can be there to decide on the dependent variable. So I must be able to first understand that from the data कि मुझे किसका निकालना है और उसके ऊपर कौन से मेरे dependent factors हैं. And mind it, I'm always talking about numbers here. I'm not talking about text. ठीक है? Even if it is some textual value, like I'm saying कि motor है, motor नहीं है, या पानी is boring water or natural water, I mean sweet water, तो उसको भी you can have it in terms of 0, 1. That 1 means or 10 means boring water and 20 means supply water. So all 10s and all 20s को वो उस तरीके से consider करेगा. That some value is 10 and some value is 20, which is affecting my factor. Now I had taken up this data from Kaggle. This data is actually house price indicator के लिए. It has the price of the house, actual price of the houses, addresses, area, how much square feet का flat है. Then you have the latitude of the longitude of the house, number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms, balconies है या नहीं है. So here these blank means, these blank here means what? They are
Null, there's no value there.
there is no value there. So ये missing data है बीच में से. ठीक है? Then you have under construction property है, ready to move है, new old है, whatever, parking lot available है या नहीं है, furnished है, semi furnished है. Price per square feet वो निकाल रहा है. On all this price per square feet क्या है? So considering all these factors, I mean all these information is there. इसमें से कौन सा factor है exactly वो मुझे नहीं मालूम. That I have to decide and take it as my dependent variable. My price is there. ठीक है? This is the actual data which I've taken from from Kaggle, right? Okay, that is my daily_csv. I took that file and I worked on it. Now, what work did I do? This is the whole code actually. I will explain to you step by step that what exactly we have tried to do here. Acha. Now, first thing first, I definitely downloaded the data, which is my daily_v3.csv file. Read करा उसको data frame में convert करा. Now I am telling you that I don't want to make all those 10 columns which are there as my dependent, depending factors, right? I don't want that. So I'm deleting a few things like landmarks is something which is not significant for me. Landmarks doesn't reside on my price. So landmark is a column and there could be multiple columns like these, which you feel that is not really affecting my factor as a factor. So I will delete those things. And you can see here I've written in place equal to true. Why? Because I want a permanent deletion. And axis equal to 1 tells that I'm talking about a column. Because for row deletion also the process is same in data frame. अगर तुम्हें याद हो. Do you remember this command, Sriram?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, that's great then. So it's df data frame name dot drop. Drop ka half circle open, half circle closed. In square brackets, we have the name of the column. It can be multiple also. I've given single here. In place equal to true because I want a permanent deletion, and access equal to 1 because I'm talking about a column and not a row. Row index नहीं है, ये landmark column index. इसलिए access equal to 1 compulsory है. I deleted it, and after that, I filled all values which are blank with 0. I did not drop those rows, but I filled all values with blank or null as 0. Right? That may affect my prediction. Try the code without, putting the values as 0, null values, and try the code with the CSV file where you have removed all the rows which are blank, and see क्या वो prediction same आ रहा है. That's a good judgment. Okay. Now, what is the next step I have to do? I'm separating the independent variable and the dependent variable. Separating the independent variable and the dependent variable. So df को हम touch नहीं करेंगे. df जैसा है, we keep it that way. And I'm going to make two data frames now, x and y. Y has only the price. So you have to make one data frame which is having the dependent factors and one data frame which is having the independent factors. Okay. My dependent variable is price. हम price को ही judge करना चाह रहे हैं, price का prediction निकालना चाह रहे हैं. तो price को अलग कर दिया और बाकी जितना बच गया into your data frame, I have not deleted anything else other than landmarks. Everything is my independent variable. उसको पूरे को लिया और उसमें से मैंने price हटा दिया. Rest of the things are there. Because price I have taken in my other data frame जिसको मुझे जज करना, प्रेडिक्शन करना मुझे प्राइस का, तो मुझे उसको सेपरेटली रखना पड़ेगा. And then I had used this code to display the top 5 rows of X as well as Y. Top 5 records of the rest of the data frame and top 5 records of the price. It's just to show that yes, data has been done properly on each one. Now comes the machine learning code. Very small, but very, very significant. Now here, I'm not importing the whole library from the sklearn.model selection. Now this is something which we have to know कि कहाँ से क्या data उठाना है, क्या library उठानी है. So sklearn is the library, model selection is the module. So from the sklearn library, pick the model selection module and your import from there this train test split code. ये वाला method pick करो. Now train and test split is a very, very important concept. What does it talk about? This whole data which I have given, which I have with me now, will be used for training the model also and will be used for testing the model also. If there are 5,000 records, I am telling him that use 80% of the data to train it and use 20% of the data to test to get my predictions. So that I can then check कि भाई it's correct or not. Okay? उसका जो code है वो ये बहुत direct सा code है. You can see the equal to in between. I am calculating the train test split on X and Y and keeping the test size as 0.2. मतलब 20% of the data को test size रखो, 80% of the data को make your training data. And what will it return? It returns you 4 things. And I have assigned it into 4 variables. X में से, that is all the independent variables का training वाला portion, all the independent variables का test वाला portion, all the dependent variable का like price का training वाला portion and price का test वाला portion. So price में suppose there are 5,000 columns. I said 4,000 columns of the price along with their factors will be used for training, and the rest of the 1,000 data जो भी है 1,000 records का data that will be used for my testing. ठीक है? So that is what I'm doing in this particular line. Shape में I'm just trying to show you कि train कितने records पे कर रहा है, कितना record it has picked up for the training part as per the 2% story or 20% story. 80-20 के ratio में I wanted to pick up. Okay. Now I want to import my linear regression वाला module from the linear_model of sklearn package. करा. Then simple, you just say linear regression वाला method हम call करेंगे, put it in M, and then m dot fit को, this is the actual function to do the thing. I'm going to pass in my both the training sets, x का training set and y का training set. X का training has all the independent variables, y का training has all the prices. कि इन सारे फैक्टर्स पे जब हम जा रहे हैं, इन सारे वैल्यूज के साथ ये प्राइस आ रहा है. So I train the data. ये ट्रेनिंग वाला स्टेज है. ये ट्रेन करो, कर दिया ट्रेन. नाउ प्रिडिक्ट करो. So for m dot predict, I provide him with the test data from the x. सारे dependent factors उठाओ और उसको दे दो. कि now you give me the predicted price, which I store in y dot predict. It's just a variable. And then I'm printing it with the top 5 records, and this is the output. If its actual is 1 crore or 11 crores, predicted is around how much? This is going to be something like 1.1, 1.10 crores. Thoda variation hai. This is, if I'm assuming like 36 lakhs, or it is 3 lakhs, 3 crores, 60 lakhs, 6 lakhs, or 36 lakhs. Kitna hai bhai? 36 lakhs. Hai. If it is actual was 36 lakhs, but my predicted value was around 32 lakhs. Little variation, not exact. 48 lakhs, यहाँ पे around 49 lakhs है. 48 lakhs, 46 lakhs है. इस वाले record में it's around 10 crores or something. ये around 1.1 crore. 10.1 crore के करीब. Okay, so I am comparing this and displaying you the data here कि मुझे actual वाला data जो निकला और जो predicted वाला data मैंने निकाला है उसको show. So this is how I'm going to write the code for training the machine with some information. I'm using the same for testing also, the rest of the portion, and then making the prediction. That machine now will tell me what is the predicted price. That is how the linear thing works. But then this is not something which is compulsory for you to do. But if you're interested, if you can understand, if you can implement this kind of codes, excellent. Then you're actually learning how things are working in the AI world. Right? And see, if you actually see the thing, the code is very small. Don't you agree?
Yes, ma'am.
The code is very small. Train test split is just a one-line story where you're telling him the function name itself is train test split. Both the data I'm giving him and telling him, भैया 80-20 के रेशियो में उसको split कर दो डेटा को. हो गया. Then I am importing the linear regression module. I'm calling that function and asking him to first train and then predict. Majority work is done by Python itself. I'm not doing anything. But that is how it works. Sounds interesting?
Yes, ma'am.
You can actually use it for your project works and economics and all too. है ना? That I have made a model which is predicting data like this.
Ma'am, this will be more useful for Aditi. She has economics.
Oh, great. That's good then. You may use it for some other thing. But this kind of is a very interesting concept. Even I have learned it. It's a learning phase for me too. But it's interesting and easy to work. Did you understand the concept?
Yes, ma'am.
And here you are implementing what all you have learned in your class 11th about creating of the data frame, deleting column, deleting row if you want. How do you access a particular column? How do you see the first 10 records of the first 5 records of your data frame? How do you check the shape and size of the data frame with the shape attribute? How do you create another data frame? Like here you are creating another data frame by giving in these two columns of information. So यहाँ पे now you want to use your libraries का information which you have learned. Okay, this is what I wanted to do today, but I actually want you people to practice your 11th का थोड़ा portion because otherwise you will not be able to implement it. Is it fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then we'll meet next week. Bye-bye.
Ma'am, one question.
Yes.
What will be the syllabus for the UT?
I will mention that whatever we have done today, of course, and little bit of pandas also I'll be taking up.
Sure, ma'am.
What do you think it should be?
I think it should be pandas.
It should be pandas, right? So
Mhm.
I'll give you certain things of pandas like data frame creation, addition, very, very basic, which I need in 12th. Otherwise, I will not, I mean, ask you to do.